All right, guys, let's bust through this practice test real quick. Make a hopefully quick video here. Let's see how it goes. Number 1 and 2 are just slope. Remember slope? Come on now. Slope, you can do the y minus y over x minus x. Here we go. So I'm going to do -1 minus -13, and also -6 minus 2. On the top, that gives you 12. On the bottom, gives you -8. Always reduce your slopes when you can. -3/2. Number 2, same deal. Y is on the top, x is on the bottom. I'm going to say slope is 3/5. I'm starting with the positive 3/5 this time. Minus -3/5 on the top. My numerator, my denominator would be -1/2 minus 1/2. My numerator would be 6/5. My denominator is going to be -1. If you divide anything by -1, you just change the signs. It's -6/5. Number 3, 4 and 5, I'll just say find the slope. You can do these just by looking at the equation. Slope number 3 is y equal, it's slope-intercept form, so the slope is in front of the x, y equals mx plus b. X equals 8 is a vertical line. Vertical lines have no slope, so the slope is undefined. And number 5 is a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have slope 0. Number 6, give you 2 points here and actually find a rate of change. Remember, rate of change is another word for slope. Rate of change is slope. So when you find rate of change, you're going to write them as points. And when you do this, write your years as your x's, because what that does, we're trying to think about how the population is changing per year. And knowing that our x coordinates go on the bottom of our fraction and our denominator, it just makes more sense to have the x's in your denominator. So rate of change, take your y's. Let's subtract them. 124,943 minus 102,434. Those are huge. Over 2,000 minus 2010. Obviously, I'm going to get -10 on the bottom. I'm going to punch all that in my calculator. All right, when you punch that in, I'm getting 22,509 over -10, which obviously reduces to when you divide that -2250.9. Just gonna move a decimal over a little bit. And don't forget what that means. What that means is the population is decreasing by 2250 people per year, because we put years on the bottom. That's why we did that. We change colors here. Number 7, 8, 9, and 10, all finding slope-intercept form, equation of the line. Only time you need to use slope-intercept form is if you know the slope and intercept, like you do here. The slope is 2/9. That goes in front of your x. The y-intercept is -7. It goes right there. That's all you got to do on that one. No work at all. Number 8, they give you the slope and a point, which means you can do point-slope form. I'm going y minus the 1, -2 times x minus -5, which is really x plus 5. 2 steps of work here. Distribute the -2. And move the 1 over. When you move the 1 over, it becomes +1, which makes that a -9. That's all you got to do on that one. Number 9, a little more work this time. This time they're giving you 2 points, so you got to find the slope first. So just like we did up there at the top of the page, I'm going to do y minus y on top, x minus x on the bottom. This one I'm going to get 12 up here, and looks like -2 down here, so my slope is -6. So there's your slope. You can pick either point you want to. I don't know why. I'm going to pick the second one. Don't really know why. So I'm going to go y plus 5, slope times x plus 1. Maybe that's why I picked it, because they're both negative, which means when I put them in my equation, they both become pluses. Takes 2 steps of work again. Distribute the -6. Move the 5 over, which is going to make that a -11. And there you go. Number 10, just like the last one, except it's just written differently. Okay, no big deal here. Remember, it's usually g of x. So the 1 is the x, the 4 is the y. The -2 is the x, the 13 is the y. So if you want to think about it like this, it's really 1, 4, and also -2, 13. Okay, which makes it just like the problem we just did. Got to find the slope first. I'm doing y minus y on the top, x minus x on the bottom. You get 9 over -3, which is -3, by the way, so our slope is -3. You can pick whichever point you want. I'm going 1 and 4 just because they're smaller. So I'm going y minus 4 is slope times x minus 1. So I get y minus 4 is -3x plus 3. Move that 4 over. You get -3x plus 7. Now, that's good, but what it asks you to do is to find g of 2. So to find g of 2, I'm actually going to take that equation and plug a 2 in for the x. So g of 2 is going to equal -3 times 2 plus 7. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, plus 7 is 1, so g of 2 is 1. That's the main answer to that problem. Okay, 11 and 12 is asking you it's a parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Number 11 is neither, because they are reciprocals in number 11, but to be perpendicular, the slopes have to be opposite reciprocals. They're going to have different signs. Those have the same sign. Number 12, don't forget, if they're standard form, the way you find the slope is you do negative a over b. That's an awesome way to do slope. So this equation, the slope is negative 1/2. The slope of this one is negative 2 over 4, which is exactly the same thing. Negative 2/4 is negative 1/2, so those are parallel because parallel lines have the same slope. Remember, perpendicular, opposite, reciprocal. Okay, 13, you got to do both ways. 13 says write a slope-intercept form of a line passing through negative 1/6 that is parallel to this equation, and then part B, perpendicular. So first thing you need to know is what the slope is of that equation. Slope is 2. That's really important. And when I do my parallel one, I'm going to use slope 2. Okay, I need the slope to be the same. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Okay, so I'm going to use that point. So I'm going to say y minus 6, this is part A, by the way, equals that slope times x plus 1. So I'm going to distribute the 2 and move the 6. And move the 6 over. I get a plus 8. That's the A part. There's part A, parallel. The perpendicular part, I'm using the same point, so that everything is the same except for the slope. Okay, the slope I'm going to do is the opposite reciprocal. The opposite reciprocal of 2 is negative 1/2. All right, so I'm going to distribute the negative 1/2, make it negative 1/2 x minus 1/2. Move the 6 over. This is a good discussion right here. If I move the 6 over, it's plus 6. So I'm going to do 6 times the bottom. 6 times 2 is 12. Minus the 1 is 11 halves. And there it is, A and B. All right, 14. This will be hard to do in the video, but it's all calculator. I guess I could talk you through the steps real quick. You need to clear your list. So clear list, remember that. L1, L2. Then I'm going to go to Stat, Edit, and punch all these numbers in to my list L1 and L2. I guess I could put that. That's L1 list. That's L2 list. As soon as I get that done, I'm going to go to Zoom 9. Zoom 9 draws your picture for you. Just copy your picture down on your paper. Then go back to Stat again, except this time go to Stat, Calc 4, which is LinReg. It is LinReg. And write your equation out. I gave you these answers in class. I'm not going about the answer. I'm just giving you steps here. And then it also says to make a predict. Oh, don't forget your R. Don't forget what R is. R should show up all that. LinReg should show your equation and your R. This says predict the sales. So once you get your equation, I don't remember what it is, but there's going to be an X plus blah, blah, blah. Because it's your 2015, which is 10 years after 05, you're going to plug a 10 in for your X right there and just work it out and see what you get. All right, I know I didn't work that out in the calc, but we got those answers in class today. You can kind of practice that again. 15 says f of a minus 3, which means you're going to plug a minus 3 into that function. So I'm going to do f of a minus 3 equals a minus 3 squared plus 3 times a minus 3 minus 4. And you got to work all that garbage out. So square the first one. When you square, remember it's square. Come on now. It is square. Multiply together double, square. Then I'm going to distribute this 3, make it 3a minus 9, and that's a 4 minus 4. And then all you have to do is just look what you have and just combine everything you can. I have an a squared by itself. I got a negative 6a plus, that's a negative 3a. I got a 9 minus 9, that's negative 4, and you're good right there. 15, equation of a circle with that center and it passes through. Remember, it passes through that point because it works. All right, but first of all, split the center in. So really big, I'm going x minus 2 squared plus, don't forget your plus sign, y plus 5 squared, and it equals something over here. Now, here's the deal. They gave us this point. It says passes through 4, 5. Why does it pass through? You got it, because it works. So I'm going to put a little 4 right there. I'm putting it in for my x. I'm going to put a 5 in for my y. Now, that's not part of the answer. That's just how to come up with what the r squared is. So when I plug 4 in, I get 4 minus 2. 4 minus 2 is 2, squared is 4. So I get 4 again when I plug it in. When I plug in 5 here, 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 squared is 100. So I have 100 here and 4 over there. If I add 4 plus 100, I get 104. And guys, that's the answer. It should look just like that. You don't need these numbers down here. I'll just use those numbers so I can get the 104. That's not part of your answer. You should have an x and a y, the squares, a plus sign, and the r squared on the other side. 17 just says simplify. You got to square that thing. So you square the first, remember square, multiply, double square. If you square a square root, the square root goes away. If you multiply those two together, you get this. You get negative 7 on the square root of 3. You got to double that, make it negative 14 on 3, and then square the 7, which is 49. 3 plus 49 is 52. And then you have this minus 14 on 3. Just be careful with your signs there and when you double. All right, number 18, find the domain. Then when we do domain, remember it's the squigglies. We're going squiggly, all x such that, what can x not be? X can be anything except for, the first factor is the 2x. What would you put in for x to make that 2x become 0? 0. Remember, you cannot have 0 on the bottom of a fraction. That's why I'm doing this. This one, 3x minus 2, what makes that 0? 2/3 does, and that's all you do. Now, if you can't remember, the way you do this when you have two numbers inside of parentheses like that is you always put the opposite of the last number over the first number. That works every time. And if you forget that, just come over here to the side and take the parentheses instead of equal to 0 and see what it takes. Okay, you would move the 2 over, then you would divide by the 3, and you get the same thing. Okay, so either way you need to go there. All right, the next one, 2 more to go. Number 19 is factor, and there's 4 terms. Anytime you're going to factor 4 terms, you got to factor by grouping. So on the first 2, I'm taking out the p squared, which leaves a p minus 3. Now this will only work if I get a p minus 3 again. So to get a p minus 3 again, I got to take out a negative 4, which is important. If you take out a positive 4, you're going to get a p, you'll get a negative p plus 3, which is not what you want. Okay, now they both have p minus 3s. So I'll factor out the p minus 3. That leaves me with a p squared and a minus 4, and I would be done, except you can still factor some more. P squared minus 4, that's a difference of squares. You can go p plus 2, p minus 2. Now you've factored it completely, and you're donezo. One more, number 20. 20 has a cube on top. Don't forget our thing here, our gesture. Small, big, cube root, square, multiply, change the sign, square. That's so important. You got to be able to do that, or it's not going to work. Factor the bottom of this one, which is difference of squares, a plus 1, a minus 1. Because it's division, I'm going keep, change, flip. So I'm going to flip this one right here. This top one right here, that does not factor. There are no factors of this one that will give you a 1 in the middle, so I'm just going to write that down here. A squared plus a plus 1, can't factor it. This one, though, that one does factor, because there are factors of 1 that give you 2, and that's 1 and 1. So I'm going to go a plus 1, a plus 1. Once you get everything factored, now it's time to start canceling if you can, and there's a lot. This cancels with, there's that. A minus 1, a minus 1, a plus 1, anything on the top and anything on the bottom will cancel. All that leaves is the a plus 1 on top, and guys, that's your answer, is a plus 1. Hope that helps. Use as much as you need to. Please use it. I should see lots of views tomorrow if I'm going to keep doing this. I don't mind making them as long as you're watching them. So hopefully you're watching and doing great. I will see you tomorrow for your test. Good luck.